And say good morning to everyone. I'm Adele Imrie, Chair of the TCHC's Building Investment Finance and Audit Committee, and I welcome everyone to the public session of today's committee meeting. We continue to hold these meetings virtually due to COVID. I would like to begin with an acknowledgement that the land each of us is on as we hold this virtual meeting is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse nations, Inuit and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. So today we just have three matters as it relates to direct award extensions for the preventative maintenance service and demand repairs for the fire alarms. We continue to receive deputations either by writing or people are invited to participate in these meetings. We did not receive any requests for deputations for today's meeting. So I will move on to item number 2 and ask if there are any additions or deletions to the agenda for today's meeting. Okay, hearing none, I will ask if any members have any conflicts of interest as it relates to any item on today's agenda that they would like to declare. Okay, hearing none, I would like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting as it's presented. Nick, thank you. Naram, seconder. All in favor? Perfect, motion passed. So I will move on to item number 3, which is the first of the direct awards. And I will turn this over to Alan, the VP Facilities.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. With the permission of yourself and the committee, I'd recommend that I speak to items 3A to 3C together, as they all relate to the same program and for the same services. Is that acceptable?
I think that's most efficient. Thank you.
Thank you. As you may recall, at the November 2021 BIFAC meeting, the $50.6 million award for preventive maintenance services and demand repairs for fire alarm and suppression system was deferred and subsequently then approved at the March 8th, 2021 BIFAC meeting. Due to other circumstances outside of our control, the award will not be heard at today's board meeting. As a result, it's necessary to extend the awards via the reports being presented today, noted as items 3A to 3C on our agenda. The extension will be for a period of 8 months, which is expected to provide sufficient time to allow for the resolution of the matters surrounding the award. Funding is available for this in the 2022 budgets, and the terms are consistent with what was reviewed and approved at the BIFAC meeting on March 8th, including the vendors, pricing, and market share. As with all of these contracts, no demand work can commence without TCHC approval from TCHC staff, and TCHC staff perform random inspections to ensure that the work is performed satisfactorily. To ensure value for money, the original award was completed via a public RFP process, and the awards recommended were the most advantageous in terms of pricing, taking into account contractor capacity. Item 3A is an award for $3.2 million to Eurotech for the extension of services to buildings in our Central and Seniors West regions. Item 3C is for $4.4 million to Oak Ridge Building Solutions for extension of services to buildings in our East and West regions. And 3B is for $821,000 to Greater Toronto Fire Protection for the extension of services to buildings in the Seniors East region. And item 3C, my apologies, is for $4.4 million to Oak Ridge Building Solution for the extension of services in the buildings in our East and West region. Your approval for these items is requested in order for us to be able to provide the uninterrupted services for these key fire and life safety preventive and demand maintenance services.
Can I ask if there are any questions for Alan as it relates to these 3 matters? John?
Sorry, on 3A, the original, can you just run this by me again? Because the original contract award was $300,000.
That was for 1 month.
Oh, for 1 month. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and now we're going for 8 months.
Got it. Okay. All right.
And
how many how many buildings are being covered in this particular contract?
It covers all of the portfolio.
The entire portfolio? So
Correct.
2,100 buildings, is that right?
It would be for all of our buildings where there are fire and life safety systems. So there wouldn't be, for example, in a scattered house as an
Right.
example, but any of our,
Any
yes.
apartment buildings, townhouses, and so on. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Alan? Yes.
Mr. Hawk.
Hi, good morning. I have a question. I'm a new member and I don't know a lot of things. But the question is how this contractor appointed, you do open tender and who is the lowest and what is the quality of this contractor and criteria. And what is the after completion this work? What will be the warranty?
Sure, I'm happy to answer that. So initially, with any of the large contracts that we do, they are procured through a public RFP process. So it is a public process. There is a criteria, though, that the bidders must pass. So it's a two-stage process where first we ask them to submit information based on a rated criteria to ensure that the company making the bid has the ability to complete what we need. So once they pass that stage, we then go on to pricing. And then when we're looking at pricing, we look at what is the low bid, and we also need to take into account when we're doing a large award such as this that covers the entire portfolio, we also need to look at what the vendor capacity is in order to ensure that the vendor has the capacity to complete the work as well. So it's a rather rigorous process that the companies go through. As I say, they are evaluated, and they are evaluated by members of, for example, in this case, the facilities management team, but we also involve members from other parts of the organization to ensure that it's a fair and transparent process. Members of our procurement staff are also involved from start to finish, and then the awards go through the necessary approval process. Once the awards are in place and we have the vendors in place, then we do monitor their work, absolutely. As I mentioned, in terms of the demand work, which is additional work that can happen, that work cannot happen without having the approval of TCHC staff to ensure that it is necessary work that is being done. And then once the work that is completed, we also do random inspections to ensure that the work was performed satisfactorily. And that way we're covering all of our bases to ensure that the work being done is valued for money. And yes, as applicable, there are warranties that come with the work. It just depends on the nature of the work. And I am happy to say with our new home systems that's coming in, we will have a better, more automated way for the warranty to ensure that the warranty work is noted. It's something that our existing systems are not perfect with, but the home system will absolutely provide a good process and an automated process to ensure that all warranties are flagged.
So I have a second question. How many contractors participated in this bid?
That one I would have to, I believe there were 4 who passed.
Oh, okay, that's good. So we have TCHC have a audit and inspection department. They do all inspection after completion this work, according to the Toronto Fire Code.
So all of the work that is completed does meet code requirement. In terms of inspections, we do the random inspections through the business unit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions for Alan? Okay, could I have a motion to approve the recommendation contained in this report?
I think we're dealing with A, B, and C at the same time. So will we treat this motion
Yeah,
as
I was
applicable to each
grouping
one?
everything in item number 3. Is that okay? Or do I have to
Yep.
do
No,
one for
that's
each
fine.
one?
No, no.
Okay.
We'll deal with it for each one. Sorry,
Each
you can
one,
do
or
it as
can
one. You can move it as one item, but we'll record the mover and seconder for each one separately. And Mr. Hawk, only committee members can move an item, and because you haven't been assigned to a committee yet, you won't be able to move or second the motion to adopt this contract. Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Okay, so I saw John's hand up. And could I have a seconder? Brian, thank you. All in favor? Okay, Alan, your motion has passed.
Thank you.
I ask if there is any other business for this public BIFAC meeting. Okay, hearing none, could I have a motion to terminate the public session of BIFAC today? John, thank you. Naram, seconder, all in favor? Perfect. And I think we have a couple of minutes before we move to the board. So thanks very much for your time today.